I think we are live. Just check my audio is coming through, I think. Yeah, everything seems to be good. Hello everyone, I'm Iron Phoenix and welcome back to Space Engineers 2. Now, I found out last night, or yesterday at some point anyway, that you can do fast travel from one station to another. If you are in the bubble of the space station, you can then just fast travel to the next space station. So I thought I would give that a go, and obviously, yes, that is indeed the case. Which meant I could start doing contracts in the next system. So I'm over here now. The barge is basically done, but the problem with the barge is that the engines look a little silly because they're too small, which means I need to unlock bigger engines and bigger sort of general motive propulsion type stuff. So I need to do contracts in order to get that stuff. This is how they've decided to do things. Yes, the game will just send you into third person for no apparent reason. I'm going to go and do this one. It will unlock me some logistic stuff, I don't think that's how you spell atmospheric. I think there's an extra O in there somewhere. Yes, alpha. A different ore detector, probably a bigger one, and bigger antenna probably. So I'm going to do this one. I'm hoping, with the basis that the next contract is for uranium stuff, I'm doing one at a time, that I'll get access to reactors soon, because that would be very useful rather than relying on solar. This is my ship. As you can see, I designed it initially to be very sleek with lots of batteries, and then realised it couldn't actually get off the planet's surface, so I added a bit of a bodge job at the back to allow me to allow for a hydrogen setup. So I need to press P, and then this will very slow. Hold on, spacebar. Spacebar makes it go up slowly, and then it goes forwards. All right. It's just it doesn't really do anything else. All right. Okay, so we need to kind of go this way, and actually it's not that far away. So the way you sort of fly, turn off your dampeners, ignore the smoke that's sort of coming out from stuff. It's fine, everything's fine, nothing to worry about. So I can just sort of accelerate up to, that's a little bit too much. I put a couple of gyroscopes on here now, so it's a little floaty, but it's better than it just not doing anything at all, because initially I actually forgot to put gyros on it. That is going way too fast, and I need to correct maybe slightly. Yes, hold on, let me reload. There's no point in trying to fix stuff when it goes wrong like that. No. Keep saves. That's the most important thing that I can suggest for this game. Keep saves, because that sort of thing happens. That was technically my fault, so, it's what it is. But I have had other times where it's just... I got back to the barge from a little exploration trip I did. Came back into the barge. Right, I've got some stuff, got some ore. Going to put it into where's the smelter? The game, for whatever reason, had just decided that I didn't have a smelter anymore. There are bugs, obviously, in the game, and things do go wrong. I need to actually grab the mission, because I didn't grab it on that save. Hydrogen plant, yes. The game will just sort of... I had a lot of problems with previous iteration of the ship. Yeah, it didn't have enough power, but then I turned off the iron thrusters and just decided, hey, you know what? You don't have power to your atmospheric thrusters anymore, and just crashed me. So, yeah, that's all a bit of a thing. Anyway, let's this time actually go over to this place. Maybe a tad slower than before. sometimes you can correct, but this ship can go forwards okay, but it doesn't really stop particularly quickly. So, you know, that's the thing. Things that I can fix slowly as this ship kind of gets iterated upon and changed. It's fully capable of atmospheric flight. It's just not very good in space. But it does have 4 solar panels, so that's good. Yeah, I was just checking there. Okay, so things that this game could do a little better, apart from fixing the bugs that just make you sort of explode or crash and then explode. So one of the things that I would actually quite like is more information on the HUD. Because if I go into my HUD, this is the information I get. Yeah, it's not much. Really, you do need an altitude, sort of pitch indicator. I would quite like a pitch indicator when you're on the planet. Mostly for my mining machines, because they don't really do backwards very well, and there's a few issues here and there with mining drills at the moment. So just turn that off so I can just accelerate a little bit and drift in. I would quite like sort of a pitch indicator to show me how, because my mining ships at the moment can kind of do a 10-degree angle, maybe a 20. Anything more than that, and it gets a bit iffy about them sort of getting out the hole, especially when they're fully loaded. So having a pitch indicator would be really nice. The other thing, really simply, I need an altitude indicator. How high am I above sea level? That's what I want. Again, another thing that can be turned off in space. It's not really needed in space, but it's really needed when you're landing on a planet. I especially had that issue when it was kind of like in a slightly volcanic region. So there were these dust plumes, and I couldn't see where the ground was, which was a problem, to say the least. Right, so we're coming up on this hydrogen production facility. This is the sort of thing that actually is a huge improvement over the first one, because the first one, as I kept saying on the forums, and was joined by a few other voices on this, the problem with planets was not necessarily that they were just big balls of voxels that were occupying development time to get them in place damaging pretty much anything else. The sort of, because all the development time basically was going into good morning. The problem with Space Engineers 1 was just the lack of life. The planets had nothing on them. Right, how? Okay, this is another reason why I kind of need a radio altimeter to land, because you can't do it in. You can't really see in when you're. Am I stuck on something? No, it's just not going down. Okay, interesting. I will do that then. That's locked. Yep. I have one landing gear down on the pad. That's apparently locked. Oh yes, and I upgraded all my tools to Mark II stuff. I think it was at the last place I was at. So they're better in some way. I don't know how. The game doesn't tell me. Iron, and I've got irons. I've got hydrogen for forwards. I've got ions on top, left, right, forward, back. It should be going down, but it's not for some reason. And it usually does. So I don't know quite why it was being weird. Game is an alpha. Things break. I think is what I'm quickly learning with this game particularly. A lot of alphas aren't this bad, but it's key. You can't necessarily judge them too much. Right. I need plates. Usually there's enough stuff in these bases to just kind of fix everything. Though usually I end up just grinding the crates down, because when I need iron plates, all I can apparently find is compressors, which I don't need at the moment. We'll have a take that. Okay. Game is going to be the game. God, where were all these compressors when I was trying to build a mining machine? Right. Okay. Game is going to be the game. And not give me what I need. Usually you can find it. Right. More exploration needed. These bases are nice, though. I do like how they've put these POIs together. Now it's down to this other landing pad. And no other rooms. Let's go down. There's some stutter around here and there. These are big places. Right, I think the game is going to want me to drill for iron. Fine, I have a drill. That's ice. Iron is over there. Everything you need is here. It's just finding it sometimes is challenging. All in all, I have been having fun with this, and that's the main thing, I think. Obviously, you should enjoy the games that you buy. While there have been issues, mostly it's sort of fixed with reloading saves. While it's not ideal, backpack crafting is great. Oh, this is, except for this, of course, you kind of point at things and not. It's a clear bug, obviously, that some of these some of this welding is really difficult to do, just because you'll have the welder targeted at the thing that you're trying to weld up, and it will just say, nope, there is nothing there. I think it's mostly on vehicles rather than on these POIs. I don't think I think I might have had some issues grinding some bits down before, but it's not too bad on the POIs, but it can get quite annoying on the if you're trying to weld stuff up on ships, especially if they're not like attached to the ground. They can judder and move around, and need some more iron. The juddering is kind of annoying, and in fact, there's a whole bunch of stuff with vehicles that's just annoying. I had an issue actually when I disconnected the ship that I'm flying now from the ground. It just slid down a hill and then buried itself under the barge, and that was really annoying to actually get it out again, because no matter what I did, it just insisted on, whenever it moved somewhere where it was under the barge, so I couldn't lift it up because it was under the barge. If you didn't see the last one, the barge is basically this sort of big it's going to be a construction platform for orbital and atmospheric construction platform that's got support on it for mining machines to unload at. So if I ever reference the barge, it's that. It took forever to build because it's a large construction, and so it uses the large blocks, but it's got I've started doing a little bit of detailing on it as well to kind of put in little beams and things. That's quite a nice thing about the game, in that you can... It's like what happened when chisels and bits got added to Minecraft. It's that same level of sort of general goodness that came as a result of that. Because you could have small blocks, you could have blocks that were smaller than 1 meter cubed. So, you know, the game just adds a lot more detail by doing that. Right. Okay, so I now need to construct oxygen, these O2, H2 generators, which are here. Need steel plates. Right, I'll worry about the steel plates first. Oh, and these two here, either side. Okay, steel plates first, and then I'll go hunting for turbine blades. Oh yes, and I had all those compressors already on me. Oh, that's why there's so many compressors around, because these need compressors to complete. That's fine. You never really know what you're going to get in these places. I had one where it's like pirate type thing, you know, you're going into this asteroid and you just have to grind down a couple of things. It's a bit of a shame really, because the backpack isn't the largest, so if you actually wanted to keep that stuff, you'd have to do quite a lot of sort of back and forth. I didn't really care too much for the stuff, so you know, it is what it is. Alright, let's actually find all the stuff that they want me to find now. Power module there as well, so I might need a power module to remember where those power modules are. Now, where were the rest of the containers that I just ignored? Down here? Oh no, I was down here already. Hold on, there's a power module in one of these, wasn't there? Say that because that's got a hole in it. Oh no, that has a hole in it, so I'm just going to add that in there. Going looking for where the rest of these compressors are. There. Magnesium powder. Do we have magnesium here? Magnesium is over there. Okay, fine. I don't have any more compressors. I do have turbine blades, so I can finish that one up. So I need 12 more compressors for there. And I will just grab some magnesium powder and get these, start getting some of these finished up at least. Not seen magnesium yet. It's evidently a bit of a tier 2 type thing. And I hope this place has a processor or a refinery. A thing that I can use to, that's a gravity generator. What else do we have? What I should probably also do is grind these containers down, maybe, so I know when I've used them. That's a jetpack fuel tank. Okay. Oh, maybe in here. compressors in there. 4 compressors in there. Okay. I think I'm short by 4. Oh, okay, that's a backpack craft. Excellent. I'm going to weld it up all the way, because why not? Okay, magnesium powder can be a backpack craft. That's good to know. It's welding it all the way up, because that gets me stuff out of my inventory. I can find where these were. Anything in... that's where they are. Hidden in the locker. Right. Loot everything. And the last one was out here, wasn't it? I really don't need the iron in my inventory if I can avoid it. Right. Okay. Move the destroyed tanks and use their components to finish construction of the new tanks. Okay, so, right, these ones. And the new ones here. Excellent, yeah, so I can just do sort of jumping here and there, because I'm going to need to destroy these anyway. May as well just weld those two all the way up. That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier. That when you're welding stuff and it says you're there, but apparently you're not. Oh, not welding. That was deconstruction. That one happens a lot. That bug. It's like you're not close enough, but no matter how close you get, you're never close enough. Right. Clear away the last of this debris. And then I can just return to the contract terminal, but I will just get rid of this one as much as possible. Okay, now we can just leave now. Find our ship, which was up here. Actually, before I leave, I will first unload, but also I will go and get the ice that I saw in here. There's just like 400 icing in a chest. May as well nab it, because I am using it at the moment. Is it in this one? Yeah. Won't exactly get me far, but yeah, it's better than nothing. I'm not gonna like mine out all that ice over there. No, it's not. That's not needed, but I'll take that little bit of ice just to keep me going a bit. Right. Press P. And it's not. Oh, it is going up, just very slowly. I definitely need more ion thrusters on the bottom sides, top. It's very slow. But it goes forwards okay, so that's the main thing. Apparently if you double tap Alt, it does reset the view. Which I found out by accident when I was trying to work out how you use the GPS system, because the GPS system is a bit balked. You can use it to place a marker of where you are, but if you try and place it on a point of interest on the planet's surface, it will just put it somewhere, and it'll be completely in the wrong place from where you actually want it to put down. So you have to actually go to a place and say this is a marker that I want to care about, rather than trying to select it on the map, because the map it won't work. Alright, it's coming in nice and slowly this time. And dampeners on. Basically, if you run without the dampeners on, then your ship's not going to keep spinning up and slowing down. So if you're just cruising, yeah, just leave the dampeners off right up until you impact the asteroid that you weren't looking at because you were, changing the podcast or whatever. You also can't build on that station. That is a station, and it is protected by that bubble. Also means you can't use that station to build ships. It won't let you, which not ideal. I get it. They don't want people mucking up their stations, but it's a single player game. Who cares, really? I guess it's more to make sure that you don't accidentally delete the contract terminal, but then again, they could probably do that other ways, considering that's not player buildable. Right, this is going to be interesting now, because I've done some things that I shouldn't have done. Like turn, basically. Turning can be a bit annoying to slow down from. Ah, that's turned nicely. Okay. Let's just cruise in. And I've done it again. Right. We'll just do it. Tap it in. Don't want to go too fast. If you're below, I think it's like 20 or 10, your ship is basically invincible, which is a good thing. I've certainly survived a lot more than I probably should have. I'm just gonna. There we go. We're locked, and let's go and turn this one in, and see if I can work out what I even unlocked. Because that's the another thing which I'm not a huge fan of. It doesn't really fanfare what you've unlocked, so you do have to then go into your build blocks menu and see if you can work it out. And some of this stuff I can't work out what I've unlocked. I mean, I unlocked the refinery, I think, last time. I don't know what the refinery gives me. I don't know if it's a better smelter. It doesn't really tell you what some of this stuff does. It tells you what it does, but it doesn't really tell you what it actually does, what it looks like, useful things like that. How big is it? Well, I don't really know. So I know it was something to do with antenna. Maybe it was a bigger one of them. I don't really know. There was an ore thingy. Maybe I've got a bigger one of them. I can kind of tell, even though I can't put it down. Okay, there is a bigger one of those. Right, great. It would be nice to be, told this in some sort of fanfare of what have you actually unlocked. Right. This one. This could be fuel-based energy tier. Space movement. Those are exciting words. Take off is P, and we just back out. We need to be going to the one that's 36 kilometers away. So something Elite Dangerous does, is it will tell you how far things are away. I don't recall the contract ever saying that it was 30 kilometers away in the contract thing. That would be another sort of little quality of life update. A lot of my issues with Space Engineers are not actually big issues. They're actually quite small. I am going to save, though, because I'm currently in a good place, but I know that there's going to be an asteroid in the way that I'm probably going to hit. Yeah, a lot of my issues with this game is quite small. There's big ones in the game will just suddenly sort of decide that you don't have blocks that you definitely used to, or it will tell you that actually no, your atmospheric thrusters that were keeping you aloft don't have power anymore because you turned off the power to your ion thrusters. It will do things like that. Those are biggies, and those I'm sure will be fixed. Just sort of annoying issues. Those are the sorts of things. But it's not big as in the game crashes when you pull out your welding tool. It's not big stuff like that anymore. It was when it got released. They managed to release it with a couple of crashes when your backpack was full. And in the process of trying to fix that, they introduced memory leak, which, yes, they fixed the crashes. You couldn't play the game, but they did fix the crashes. So yeah, I'm intrigued by this game, as I'm sure quite a few people are, to see where it will go. Because the engine, the tech behind it, is pretty impressive. I've never particularly floored them on their tech, and certainly their damage model is the best out of sort of the space games. Empyrean builds a really good world, and it's got a sort of a decent building system. I'm going to start slowing down now. It's got a decent building system, but that Empyrean is very much more a space survival game, whereas Space Engineers was always more of a space construction game. And another game that is, again, something completely different, but still kind of along sort of similar lines, would be Stationeers. That's much more of a systems-based space game. It's still a survival, but it's much more engineered towards you are building a series of systems in order to keep yourself alive. Or, rather hilariously, building a series of systems that, through a mistake of your own, has caused something to explode. In my case, it's usually things like walls, canisters, buildings. I once accidentally pressurized my Stationeers base with hydrogen, and that was it got hot briefly when something finally exploded and set the whole thing on fire. But these are all very, very different games, and they've all very much stayed in their lane, which is good. So it's going to be interesting to see what Space Engineers becomes, because I feel like it's drifting a little bit into Empyrean's lane. Are they going to be able to do enemies? Are they ever going to be able to work out sensible AI that doesn't just beeline for the player? Is that something that they are able to build? Because they seem to want to, and maybe with a new engine they could do it. I don't think they would be able to. I don't think they've ever been able to do it on Space Engineers. I could be wrong. I've not played it for a very, very long time. I know they did have AI, but it was not smart. Right. Coming up on this contract, I don't know, this mining facility, uranium mine, I think it was. And we're looking for the landing pad. Which that looks like a landing pad. I don't know. Could be entering a, the Portal 2 situation of this is not a loading dock. Doing a manual override of the wall. Nope, that is indeed. Right, are you going to? Right, something is firing. I think my atmospheric thruster is firing pointlessly. If I'm in space, my atmospheric thrusters shouldn't even be on. It's just absolutely refusing to go down. I don't know why, because it is firing. Oh, there it is. There it is. It is moving me down now. There was a bit of something going on. I don't know. Right. That's good enough parking for me. Right. What do we need to do? Repair the damaged batteries. Ice. That's not going to be particularly useful for repairing batteries. Oh yeah, the torches. The automatic torches. I do like those. This is nice, doing the windows on the bottom, though you do get that little sort of bump when you walk up. There might be ways of doing that a little cleaner. So also, when you actually do fix stuff like the batteries, the game does sort of respond by turning on the lights, which is very, very nice. Apparently it does look... I don't actually know if I've got ray tracing on. I suspect not. Might be a thing that I need to sort of turn on. Is that a battery? Oh yeah, that is a battery. I need more iron though. I think I need to get power to get through that door. There's a smelter there, if I need it. Right, where is the nearby iron? Okay, it is over here. Just grab it. To be fair, I could have also grabbed the stuff out of the ship. Oh, it's fine. I'll use this. I might need that stuff for when I start doing upgrades on the main ship. Okay. And now I can get through that door. And that gives me nothing of note. Fair enough. Fair enough. It would be nice if there was something of note in there, but there isn't. So, oh well. Let's get this one welded up. I need electronic parts. What's this? Down here. Nothing. A battery is here. Again, nothing of note. That right. Where was the silicon? I think it's the silicon I need. Down it. Right. here. Right, battery is complete, and now they want me to do... Oh no, there's another battery up there. Somewhere. Up this thing that looks like a lift shaft, and I hopefully would become a lift shaft in the future. The movable blocks are usually quite sort of good and useful, and in one of my sort of considerations about the game, I mean, I do wonder how well the engine would do if you were to build something like a space elevator. Probably not a space elevator per se, because there is a block limit of how much you can actually do. But certainly sort of smaller elevators should be possible. You know, using guide rails and atmospheric engines, or you know, hydrogen if you just want something that works in both environments. It's a consideration. Alright, I'm gonna need more iron, I suspect. It's nice that these don't need motors anymore. I believe they used to for the first one. Grab another inventory full of iron. Chances are I'll need it for something. And it'll be just like one conveyor that I have left to construct, and then that'll be the end of the mission, I expect. But you know, at least these aren't like story missions. So you know, you kind of think, you know, could these the contract system does work, and I'm glad it's not a story mission, because they can't write stories. It's evident from Minor Wars. Okay, and yes, that is indeed the end of the mission. This is basically what the contracts are. You go to a place, you weld up some stuff that's been half built or you know holographic. And then you return to the station, and or we get completely lost inside one of these things. Where's the exit? Down here? Nope. Nope, not there either. I remember this. No, it's not that. Oh, there's mines here. Nope, this does not lead outside either. Does this lead outside? Oh Lord. I'm stuck in the mine. I don't know I don't know how to get out. I hate mazes. Right. Up here. Maybe. Let's not go up too quickly. Right. Okay. We're out. Okay. I'll. This weren't on. Okay, well, I can leave now. And I think... Yeah, I mean, the stuff that modders have actually added into the game is quite impressive already. Modding communities are what keep games going, end of the day. So, you know, it's... I will definitely be interested to see what the modders do with contracts. Especially if Keen are doing some quite simple ones at the moment, probably just to kind of iron out the kinks. So we'll see. It'll definitely be interesting to see what the modders do. Basically just going to complete this one, I think, and then I'll probably end the stream for tonight, because I'm just basically going to be hitting contracts to unlock stuff, and maybe start working on this ship a bit. It's got its problems. Could probably also speed up a bit. I've got a bit of a laundry list of things that I would quite like to see. Basically, yeah. The game is still in very early development, and it took a while for Space Engineers' first one to kind of get to an interesting point. So yeah, 1 or 2 years. If Keen are able to keep their interest in it, of course. Because, you know, remember what happened with Medieval Engineers. The good thing about what they did with Medieval Engineers is that at least they got some actually quite interesting tech into the engine that they can use in Space Engineers 2, even if the game was basically abandoned. I'd like to see them bring ropes in, like ropes and cables, because that would make elevators even easier to build. Because you won't have to start messing around with like, I can't remember what they were called, and they weren't sliders, pistons. Yes. It's a I will say that it is a fairly solid alpha. I think that's kind of how I feel about this game as it stands. Expect bugs. But you know, it is definitely good that the modding side is sort of active and going. As for if people should pick it up, I think there's quite a lot of interest in the game at the moment, which is good. It is good. Because we need more games like this, because we need more competition for everyone, so that everyone does well. Basically, competition breeds good games. As much as Nintendo don't want to learn that lesson, it stops games companies from just having a monopoly on one thing. So I want games to do well, games to deserve it. I completely overshot with this. I need to start slowing down a little bit earlier, because ship is not fast. I can turn around and that will just get me the hydrogen in. Unfortunately, it kind of does this sort of... I'm probably going to use the wrong terminology, but it's sort of this sort of vector thrust type thing, where it will actually start propelling you in the direction that you don't want to travel in, because your turn speed isn't fast enough, so you kind of start getting shoved in awkward directions until you can kind of get it down to a reasonable. Once you're down to about 100 kilometers an hour, the thrusters should be fine, but it'd be just a little bit of me circling. I think I can sort of correct it by going forwards a bit. Possibly. Each ship kind of does behave a little bit differently. Another good thing I will actually say about what they've done with the contracts is that all the ships that they've built for players to just use, they are all really easy to fly. The stuff I've built, not so much. Everything that I've built has a bit of yes, that isn't actually another good thing that I would quite like to see space engineers add is which direction are you thrusting in, and how can you actually like, yes, and Kerbal Space Program, yeah. Rogue System, I think, also did something similar. There are a few games that have, yeah, definitely done that, where it will actually show you on the HUD where you're travelling and how to kind of correct it. Really, I just want more stuff on the HUD that's actually useful, because at the side, I know that I am flying the ship Grid because I've not named it. It's not quite become worthy of a name yet. I know that my ship is almost 34,000 kilograms. Great, that's not hugely useful for me to know, but fine. Yeah, no. I don't really know how they visualize movement. That's the thing. That's the interesting thing about it. You can feel that you're moving, but there's that little bit of judder. I don't even know what A is. I should know. I don't know what A is because that one never really seems to go up. G is useful when you're near a planet and you want to get out the planet, but otherwise it's completely useless having that in space. So there's a lot of just meaningless information on the HUD, and there's not useful stuff on the HUD. Right, gonna land, get this contract in, get a complete lack of fanfare as to what I've actually unlocked, and then see if I can work out what it is that I have unlocked and what might be useful. Come on, move down. Seems to be that when I'm at a particular angle, it just won't move down. There we go. Down, locked, upside down, because I've got my that one on. Right, get this contract in. Complete, done. What is it that I actually unlocked? That will be interesting to know. Something fuel-based power. Reactor. Okay, I did actually unlock the reactor. That's good news because I would like to be using a reactor over solar panels if I can avoid it. Does need uranium, I expect, to run, but oh, I've got a medical room. I must have unlocked that a little while ago as well. So it's something that looks a little bit better than just having the survival kit. Fine. I don't see anything else that I may have unlocked. They're probably bigger versions of things that I've already got. Yes. Oh, did I get a bigger landing gear at some point? I had this feeling that I might have done. Yes, I did. That would be good for the barge. Because again, the barge wasn't... had these little landing gears, and they just weren't suitable for a large ship. Anyway, I'm going to end this this stream here for now. A little bit shorter than usual. But yeah, Space Engineers, I'm sure we'll be back when I've done a little bit more and want to show some stuff off, or if they do a particularly interesting update, then I may play with that. But for now, I will say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.